Why fitness might not be your problem. So one of the challenges is when you're trying to get your body to perform at its best out on the bike, is there's so many different angles that you can tackle, right? You could tackle like the mindset side, you could tackle the nutrition side, you could tackle the cardio side, you could tackle the strength side. There's multiple different areas that you could tackle and work on and research and dive into. You can look at carb loading, you can look at going keto, you could look at going carnivore, you can do the zone diet, you can do paleo, you can have carb gels, you can have caffeine, you can have pre-workout, you can have protein shakes, carb gels, heaps of stuff that you can try. And that's just for basic stuff for nutrition, right? And so you go down these rabbit holes of each of those areas, hoping to get your body to perform better. But the problem that happens is if you're not solving the right problem for your body to improve, then you're not going to see the results that you're after. And so I'll give you some examples of this. It just came from, I had an email come through from a racer this morning after some help. And he mentioned what he was working towards. And he said, oh, like my fitness and everything's fine on the bike. I just need to work on the nutrition. But the thing is, you can never really know that unless you've really dug in and ripped everything apart and had a look at what you're doing. You don't know that the nutrition is the problem area. So I'll give you some examples here. So some riders think that, say, training is the problem when it's actually the nutrition. So often what will happen is like a rider will be racing, let's say it's a 3-hour enduro race. And they're like, okay, I get to towards the end of the race and they're like, oh, I start to get exhausted and I lack energy and I make more mistakes and I feel a bit lightheaded and I'm not picking the right lines on the track and I start to slow down and all of those things start to happen. They start to fatigue. And they go, yeah, but I'm training hard, been training, doing all these sessions, doing cycling, doing swimming, doing weights, doing this, doing that, cool. So it's the nutrition. That's the thing that I need to work on. So they go down the rabbit hole of nutrition and trying to get better with the food. But the problem is what they've done psychologically is they've just pushed the training aside. They've gone, oh, the training's already at 100%. That doesn't need any fixing. The nutrition is the thing that needs fixing. So they put all of their time and effort into the nutrition. Now, think about the weight of your bike. So the bike might weigh 100 kilos. If you weigh 80 kilos and you add those two together, that's a total of 180 kilos that you need to wrestle around for 3 hours. So if the rider, say, is cycling a lot and they're doing 4 hours of cycling a week, cycling, pedaling, chances are they're not going to have the strength that they need for the bike to be able to wrestle around 180 kilos. And if they don't have the strength for the bike to wrestle around 180 kilos, the bike's going to feel very heavy. And if the bike feels heavier than what it should be, they're going to use a lot more energy on the bike. If they're using a lot more energy on the bike, they're going to run out of energy quicker. They're going to get exhausted. They're going to fatigue a lot earlier than what they should. So the problem is the training. They need to go and actually start doing some strength work and getting themselves stronger so they can make the bike feel lighter, so they use less energy when they ride, so they can ride longer. And the problem might not be the nutrition. The problem might be the training. But because they put themselves in this mindset of going, oh, the training's fine, I'm already training hard, and they've kind of dismissed it, and they focus on the nutrition, they're solving the wrong problem. The problem is with the training, not with the nutrition. So sometimes what will happen is you'll spend all this time trying to get your body better in a specific area, but you're working on the wrong area. That's not to say that like for this person, the nutrition couldn't improve, but the thing that's really holding them back is the training. Same goes the other way around. Sometimes people think that which way do we go around that way? So sometimes people think that the training is the problem and they dismiss nutrition. They go, oh no, like I eat pretty well, eat pretty good quality foods. It's just the training. Like I don't really know what I'm doing with training and I go in the gym and I do A, B, and C. But meanwhile, like I had a rider the other day message me saying that they were fasting going into races, not eating any food at all beforehand or during the race and just having water and then hitting the wall and having headaches throughout the race. So in that scenario, yeah, great. The training might need to be improved. I mean, we can always improve on every area. But the main thing that needs to improve for this person is the nutrition. Their body's got no fuel. Your body needs fuel to be able to operate. It needs carbohydrates, which are its primary fuel source while you're out there riding. If you're not carb loading and getting your carbs in before your race or topping them up properly throughout the race, you're going to feel like shit no matter what the training looks like. So it's not going to matter. But if you've already dismissed the nutrition and gone, oh yeah, I eat pretty well and I'm getting in good quality foods, and you put all of your attention into the training, you might not be focusing on the right area. So you might do all of that work with the training, refine it, tweak it and get it better and improve it, but you're not going to notice as much of a difference as if you had tackled the nutrition, because that's the real problem. Another one that comes up is recovery. So a lot of people, a lot of riders will say like, oh, I struggle with recovery. Like between races or after race day, older riders tend to get the question of like, I get sore and fatigued the days after. It takes longer to recover than when they were younger. And so that may be true. However, that leads them then to going down the rabbit hole of recovery. Oh, do I need to do foam rolling? Do I need to do massage? Do I need to do more stretching? Do I need to go to the physio? Do I need to get dry needling? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Do I need to put heat packs? Do I need to do hot and cold contrast therapy? And they go down that rabbit hole of recovery methods, right? But that might not be the problem. So let's say with the training, if you're not strong enough, okay, not as strong as you need to be for the bike feels heavy. If the bike feels heavier than what it should be, you're going to use a lot more energy and it's going to be very taxing on your body. So if riding is very taxing on your body, of course it's going to be exhausted and fatigued the days after because you're asking your body to do something that it's not used to doing. So it doesn't matter, you can use all the recovery techniques known to man and it's still not going to be helpful if you don't have adequate levels of strength to wrestle the bike around and get your body used to moving those types of loads around. So the recovery techniques are irrelevant. The real problem is you're not training properly. You're not training properly, so your body isn't ready to be able to ride the bike how you want to be able to ride it. And then you are riding it how you want to ride it, and there's too big of a gap between how you're training. Your training levels here and your riding and racing levels here. And what you're asking of your body here and what you're asking your body here are too far apart. And we need to get them much closer together. When you can get them closer together, your body's not in shock every time it's gone for a ride or race going, what the hell are you doing to me? It's used to the volume and the intensity that you're putting it under. So what that means is you recover a lot better because you're not flogging the shit out of your body every time you go and ride. Your body is used to what you're asking of it. So the recovery methods go out the window, but that's an example again of like where you can go down that rabbit hole of going, oh, I'm sore after race day and I'm fatigued, and you go and focus on recovery. It's got nothing to do with recovery. It's got everything to do with the training beforehand. Another one is like arm pump. So people think that, oh, okay, I've got my forearms are pumping up. They must be getting pumped up because they're weak, so I need to get my forearms stronger. So they go down the rabbit hole of forearm exercises, grip strengthening exercises, hand strengthening exercises, those squeezy things, there's a whole heap of crap out there at the moment to be able to fix arm pump, but that might not be the problem. Maybe your forearms and hands are pretty strong. Maybe your legs are weak as piss. Maybe that's the problem. So maybe when you're riding, your legs aren't gripping onto the tank and gripping onto the bike and holding you in the right position. And because your legs aren't doing any work, which are big powerhouse muscles, these little forearm muscles are having to do all of the work. So instead of having these big leg muscles doing a shit ton of the work, you've got these little forearm muscles trying to do all of that work. Of course they're going to be overworked, right? It's like having think about your racing trailer. Like if you've got a decent sized trailer with all your gear in it, think about pulling that trailer along with a little Hyundai Getz compared to pulling that along with a V8 Land Cruiser. Very big difference, right? Obviously the Land Cruiser is going to rip that trailer down the road a lot easier than the old Hyundai Getz. That's what we're asking of our arms. Our legs are like the V8s and our forearms are the little 4-cylinder Hyundai Getz, which doesn't have too much power at all. But we're asking them to move the same load. So maybe the problem isn't that your arms get pumped up and you don't need to go down that rabbit hole of trying to get your forearms and hands stronger. You need to go down the rabbit hole of getting your legs stronger so they can do their job so your arms can actually relax. So it's another example of like, you've got to pick the right problem to solve to be able to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. The other one's cramping. I find the go-to for cramping is people are like, oh, I need more magnesium. I just try and load up on magnesium. Magnesium is an electrolyte and it can contribute to cramping, but most of the time for riders and racers, it's not that they have inadequate levels of magnesium. I mean, everyone can always have, more magnesium, more electrolytes, more everything. The real big problem is that they've probably run out of carbs. Carbohydrates are your fuel source for riding and they help to give you energy, but they also help to hold on to water. Carbohydrate, the word hydrate is in carbohydrates, and that's because it holds on to water. So when your body is depleted of carbs, what happens is your body can't hold on to water. It's harder to keep yourself hydrated. So the likelihood of you being dehydrated is very high because your body's got, the carbs are like the sponge for your body to absorb the water. That sponge has disappeared. So your body can't absorb the water and hold on to it, which increases your likelihood of cramping and also being dehydrated. Doesn't matter how much water you put in, it's still not going to help to hydrate you because you haven't got the sponge in your body to hold on to the water. So it's got nothing to do, very limited amount to do with magnesium, and it's got everything to do with your carb strategy and dialing that in. So another example of focusing on the wrong area, focusing on the wrong problem that you're trying to solve. Another one is like thinking sore legs is caused by not enough endurance training. I find for a lot of riders, they think that, oh, my legs are getting sore when I ride, so I need to be able to go and build more endurance so they can take more reps. And that's what I used to do. So when I was racing, I used to get sore legs. All the inside of my knee, that muscle on the inside of my knee used to get really, really sore. And I'd sit down more than what I'd like to, just trying to rest them. So I was doing spin classes, 3 or 4 nights a week, 45-minute spin classes, right? Trying to build my endurance for my legs. But the problem is that wasn't really the problem. The problem was, well, my legs just weren't strong enough. So my leg strength was, say, here, okay, and me wrestling the bike around and the weight of the bike is here. The gap between those two was very small. So my legs got tired and fatigued very, very quickly because they weren't very strong. What I needed to do is to be able to get my legs a lot stronger and get them up here, because if I could do that, it would make the bike feel a lot lighter. If I could have made the bike feel a lot lighter, my legs wouldn't be working anywhere near as hard. And if my legs weren't working anywhere near as hard, I could use them for a lot longer period of time. So I went down the wrong rabbit hole of going, oh, I need to work on endurance and get more endurance into my legs, and looking up rowing workouts and looking up, how many bodyweight squats can I do and how much cycling do I have to do to build endurance. But that wasn't the problem. Okay, I was solving the wrong problem. The other one, so thinking getting out of breath is caused by not having good cardio. So getting out of breath is related to cardio, okay? However, what causes you to increase your rate of breathing is different. So if you've ever done, if you jump on a rowing machine and do intervals, that's one level of cardio, right? But if you go and do a workout where you start doing deadlifts with 100 kilos and burpees, for example, it's a very different stimulus. And the reason it's a very different stimulus, even though you're still getting out of breath, is because of the weight. It's the load of the deadlifts. That will get you. That's the taxing part. That will tax you more than, say, getting on the rowing machine. And the reason that will tax you more is because there's a lot more load there that is going through our body. And it will get you breathing a lot harder than what you will be on the rowing machine. So in saying that, what will happen is riders will get out of breath and they'll go, all right, I need to do more cardio. So they start running, or they start rowing, or they start swimming, and they start doing all that sort of stuff. That's not what they need to do. The thing they need to be doing is getting themselves stronger. Because if they can get themselves stronger, the bike feels lighter. If the bike feels lighter, they use less energy. They're not exerting themselves as much, which means they can operate at that same intensity, speed, effort for a longer period of time. The other one is like thinking bike time's the only way to get fit. So if you think that bike time's the only way to get fit, and then all you do is just rely on getting on the bike to try and improve your fitness, and you only ride once a week, then you're going down the wrong rabbit hole again, because you've got 6 other days where you're not on the bike, where you're doing nothing, and then 1 day on the bike. It's going to be very, very hard to build base level fitness by just riding once a week and not doing any off the bike training at all. So again, need to go down a different rabbit hole, which is not, oh, how do I get more out of my riding, or doing more skills and doing more technique stuff and trying to get more efficient on the bike. Although that's important, the thing that's important is you need something to do on those other days to help build fitness and strength, so when you do get on the bike, you can get the most out of it. And then the last one I've got here is thinking losing weight will make it easier to ride the bike. So losing weight, if you've got weight to lose, will make it easier to ride the bike because you'll be lighter. How you lose the weight is the important part, and depends on whether you actually feel better on the bike or not. Because sometimes I hear from guys that lose weight, they go, yeah, it's great, I lost 10 kilos and I feel awesome on the bike. Sometimes I hear from guys that are like, yeah, I lost 10 kilos, but I feel like shit and I've got no energy and I can't ride properly even though I've lost all this weight. So going down that rabbit hole is like, is losing weight the problem? Is that the thing you need to focus on? Or is maximizing your energy on the bike the problem? Is that the real problem? Is that the thing that you need to fix? Or maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe you want to lose weight, but you need to know how to lose weight and still have a high level of energy to ride and race at 100%, not lose weight and sacrifice your performance out on the bike.